This is the plaintiff, Dante Pettis. He says the defendant stole his drum machine and memory card and won't give them back. He admits he let the plaintiff borrow the machine, but he doesn't know what to do to get it back other than sue him in court. So he's suing for the $1,148 he's owed. This is the defendant, Joseph Hicks. He says he's a professional DJ, known as DJ Too Tough. He borrowed the plaintiff's drum machine, but then fell on some bad times and had to pawn it. He gave the plaintiff the pawn ticket and told him he'd pay him back overtime, but the plaintiff slandered his name all over the place. Now he's having trouble getting business, and it's all the plaintiff's fault. He's accused of drumming down a friend.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says the defendant stole his drum machine, but the defendant says it wasn't stealing. He had to sell it because he fell on hard times. He's not paying the plaintiff now because he says the plaintiff slandered him. It's the case of, I'm going to wipe that snare off your drum.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Dante Pettis, you are suing Joseph Hicks for $1,148, the value of a sampling drum machine and a memory card that you say you loaned to him and that he has not returned and apparently pawned?
Yes.
Oh, my Lord. Tell me what happened.
Okay. Around, I think, the middle week of August, I let, at that time we were good friends, friend Joseph Hicks borrow my sampling drum machine. Basically, we had met each other roughly 2.5 years ago on Facebook. And, we kind of got into the same interests because I've done DJing before in beats.
What does he do?
He's a professional DJ. He's part of the group, the Philly Tough Crew from Philadelphia. In
Tell me what you do.
I'm a professional DJ. I've been DJing for about 26 years now.
Okay, what's this Too Tough crew?
My stage name is DJ Too Tough, and the group that I performed with and made a platinum record with was Tough Crew.
Okay, so go ahead.
So I had let him know roughly before December 15th that one of my cousins wanted to get into beat making. So I asked him for my sampling drum machine back. What's beat making? Well, using a sampling drum machine, you get a piece of a sound or drum loops and put them together in any kind of random sequence that part of it, to get a groove for you to produce and rap over or any other kind of genres.
Okay, can you give me an example? What is that you have with you?
This here is my portable model.
Okay.
This is an MPC 500 made by a company called Akai. Give you a demonstration. This is something I did on the way here.
Sounds slightly familiar.
So you can layer sounds and put sounds together. It should end next bar.
Okay. I had no idea it was that powerful. Got it. Thank you. That was very helpful. So now, why are you loaning him your other one?
His computer went down. When his computer went down, he wasn't able to do some beats and became.
Did he ask you for it, or did you suggest it to him? How'd that work out?
I think we were just talking about it, and at that point, it's like, okay, well, as long as you don't let nobody else use it, I said sure. It wasn't
okay, so you loaned it to him when?
I loaned it to him, I think it was the second week of August.
And then when did you decide to get it back?
A week before December 15th.
And when you asked him for it, what did he say?
He told me on the 14th to come up, and I couldn't come up then because doing some construction at the house. So I did go up there on the 15th, that was a Saturday afternoon. And went up there and I said, okay, I'm outside via my text messages to my cell phone. Said, I'm waiting out here, just come downstairs, bring my MPC with you. Then after a while, I got annoyed. I was like, look, this is not.
How long had you been waiting?
I think it was roughly more than 3 hours.
Are you kidding me?
No, ma'am.
Didn't you knock on the door?
I did knock on the door twice on a side door that leads into the house, but no answer. It's an apartment complex.
Okay, go on.
Then at some point, I just got annoyed and I called the police and they said they'll come out and waited for a while. Then
the police? You went from, because he was making you wait, you called the police? Did you have some other inkling that he had done something with the machine?
Well, I found out previously before through other conversations that he had been having some issues.
Okay. What did the police say?
Just as the police had arrived, the landlord shows up. And he's like, well, what is this about? I told him what it's about and the value. So long and short, he goes upstairs and I guess he knocks on his door. I see the landlord come out the house, as well as he came out the house, and he was, Joe was very upset. He's like, yo, man, that's some nut stuff, man. What you going to call the cops on me and all this thing, man?
Where's he been? While you've been waiting outside for 3 hours.
Right.
Where were you while he was waiting outside for 3 hours? Did you have an appointment with him to come pick up the drums?
I had an appointment with my bed to go to sleep.
Is that a yes or a no to my question?
That's a no to your question. I did not have an appointment with him. So he came
unannounced to your house?
No, he didn't come unannounced, but I was asleep. I mean, I've just got done doing 3 shows in a row where I just came back. And
where are the drums, sir?
So the defendant pawned the plaintiff's drum machine. Is that stealing?
I think so. It's stealing.
Why?
Own it, so you should ask for it before you sell.
But the complication here is that he got it legally. He borrowed it.
He basically took the property of someone else and pretended to have it.
Is that a crime?
Yeah.
You think it's a crime? What do you think?
I wouldn't loan something I wasn't prepared to just give up anyway.
That's maybe the best point of the day, going inside the courtroom.
When he came, earlier that month, I had gotten into a situation coming back from a show in Phoenixville where my road manager got highly intoxicated at that event, so I had to drive home. Upon driving home, they pulled me over, and since he didn't have proper registration for his car, they towed his car, which had all of my DJ equipment in there. Now, the drum machine was in my house, so in order to help him get my equipment and his car out of the impound, I took a loan on his drum machine, and I called him and told him, listen.
What's take a loan on the drum machine? You pawned his equipment so that you can get your equipment out of storage from a pullover by the cops and an impound?
Yes. That was my only option. That's why.
Well, sure. Nail the other guy, not yourself. That's your only option, of course. What?
Actually, I explained that to him, and I said I had to take a loan on it.
Wait a minute. You pawned his stuff to get your own stuff out, and you don't see what's wrong with it.
No, I see what's wrong with it.
Well, then why the attitude that you have?
I don't have an attitude.
You don't think you have anybody else think he has an attitude, or is it just me? Ooh, sea of nods. Are you kidding me?
No.
There's not even an ounce of contrition in your voice. You were going to make him come to your house to pick up the drums so that you could break the news to him because you aren't man enough to actually go to his house and tell him the bad news of what you did.
With what car? The car had gotten towed. What am I taking, a bus there?
Yeah.
No.
Take a bus. What do you think? You're too good to take a bus?
No.
I come across a lot of litigants that show a lot of different things, but I've never come across a platinum record holder who has sunk so low. The worst part is that you showed up today, because I would have imagined that how much is it to take this thing out of pawn?
Well,
$170. That for $170, your name would have meant something, and you would have gone and taken it out and resolved this case before you got it.
This was resolved between me and him before it ever got to the litigation part.
Really? How?
Here. Because he agreed that he would wait in order till I gave him the money, and we went and got it out of the pawn shop.
It's already in default, isn't it?
As far as I know, I've never, and I know it may sound funny, I've never put anything in pawn. When I was a kid, pawn shops.
No, that doesn't sound funny. That sounds responsible. I mean, sometimes when you have like a dire problem, this may be something you resort to because you can't go to a traditional bank and get a loan. But here, what we have is a guy who he wants to make you have the dire problem because he wants to make sure he doesn't. He just wants to make sure he's not without his equipment. And in all this time, he can't manage to muscle up $100 and something to get it out of pawn and not be a jerk, right?
Right.
Why don't you sell one of your pieces to raise some money to get it out of pawn for him so you can be stand-up? Why don't you do that?
Because immediately after that, I spoke to him and gave him the pawn slip, and he gave me a grace period in order to pay him back the amount.
And did you?
No, because he sued me shortly after that, so I'm not going to.
There's like a special place in hell for you. Just stop. Just stop.
I've been there.
Here's what we're going to do.
Wow.
Yeah. Here's what we're going to do. What is the value? Prove to me the value of that item. How old was that item?
That's the machine. And this is the memory card that goes inside the machine to give it extra memory so you can work with more sounds. Do you need the ticket as well, ma'am?
Yes, I do. But you understand, however, that what you had was a 3-year-old model, and that what you're entitled to is the depreciated value. Tell me what this figure that you wrote here, 190, what's that?
I went to the pawn shop itself and asked the man how much it was. And he said it was 190. At that point, I asked him to write it down so I can let Joe know how much it was for that point.
Oh, ye of perpetual faith. All right, here's what we're going to do. I am going to order you to go to the pawn shop and get this out. And if you don't, you are going to be paying him the value of the machine, the depreciated value of the machine, plus the cost of a memory card. Either you take care of business like a man and do what you were supposed to do, and that will end up being $190. Or if that doesn't happen, then you are paying him the value, the depreciated value of the item that you lost for him, which means I enter a judgment then in favor of the plaintiff in the amount of $750. Good luck.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, so the plaintiff has won this case, and this is the defendant coming out here. So your reaction to how it went down in the court?
Oh, I mean, he's a good friend of mine. I mean, what I did was slightly borderline non-friendly. So, he did what he had to do.
The attitude came off a little bit cavalier, yours in the courtroom. It seemed like you didn't respect the judge, really.
No, it wasn't about not respecting the judge. It was just, that was the...
Okay, was that Joe Hicks or was that DJ Too Tough?
No, that was probably Too Tough in there.
Whatever.
Yes, sir.
Right there, this way, Joe.
Have a good day.
So step on in here. You satisfied how this thing comes out? Come on in.
Yes.
How'd you get to know this guy?
Well, met him on Facebook over 2 years ago, and Tough Crew in Philadelphia has been, a favorite of everybody that's in that area. And I figured, I'm like, oh,
still a friend of yours? Would you still do business with him? Would you still help him out?
I don't know about friendship, but business, definitely not.
Harvey? Well, here's the thing. It's not stealing because the person got it lawfully. He just did something with it he shouldn't have done. But it is outrageous. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.